Hello, everybody. How are you? It is Larissa here, and we are live. I am so excited to be here today. I have a very special guest, and I'm just going to wait for her to come on. Her name is Amber Morgan. And today we are going to be talking all about how to create out of this world experiences, out of this world client experiences through social media. And I see Amber just came. Bring her up onto the screen. We've been planning this for a little while now, and I'm so excited to have her here today. And I know you guys are going to get so much out of this. So hello, Amber. How are you?
Hey, Larissa. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks so much for having me today.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to tell people a little bit about you, but you're going to do a much better job of elaborating on that. But I know, so we met, a few months ago through social media.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was really impressed with was just, we had this amazing conversation flowing. And sometimes you go on social media groups and get involved in places, and it's just this awkward feeling. And I remember, it was just a really great experience for me as someone that uses social media for business, and also someone that just is really, I think it's fun. I think it's a nice place. You want to go there. You want to make the most of your time. Even if you're just scrolling, you want something valuable, whether it's fun or educational. And we had a really great thing going, and we ended up having a couple of chats, and I think it's been great. So one of the things that you do, I know you're a program coordinator for the Legacy Builders, and you also help with client care in the Unstoppable Entrepreneur Organization. And these are some really big organizations out there in terms of the world of marketing and social media. So if you haven't heard of them, I'm sure you'll talk about them a little bit. And you have a background in corporate and in healthcare, and you're also a mom, right? So you've transitioned from this desk job to this world of playing with your phone, yet still adding so much value to people. And so maybe if you could tell me a little bit about yourself, some of the other things that you do in these areas, just so viewers can have a little more background about you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for that. It is kind of fun to reflect back. I feel like in so many ways we're old friends now, just because it's so natural to talk to you. But it is funny that we met, just a few short months ago, and that's kind of the beauty of the world in the space that we're in right now. There's so much opportunity. So yes, Amber Morgan here, and I work with the Unstoppable Entrepreneur and Kelly Roach International, and we are the first accountability-led online business catalyst. And so we work with business owners and entrepreneurs that are just starting, that don't have a business yet, all the way up to multiple seven figures and beyond. And so really we take you on this journey, big bird's eye view about how to really flex the muscle of online marketing, social media, sales, the whole gamut, coming up with appropriate programs, pricing, positioning yourself in the market, and then team development. And that's the Legacy Builders group that I lead, co-lead. And that's about establishing infrastructure to scale with team members. And then eventually we would move you to Legacy Leaders, which allows you the opportunity to actually step back and have all the way from the beginning been laying the framework and the foundation for a self-led business. So essentially that's kind of what we do in this space of social media, but we really teach you how to leverage all social media platforms, these free platforms, in order to scale your businesses quickly.
Amazing. And so why did you decide to make the transition? These are two different words. They still serve clients, but what led you to be attracted to Kelly Roach and her organization? Because I've seen her, other than I screen capture everything because I just love her style. First of all, her image consultant is fabulous.
I know.
I'm like, I want that jacket. I want that outfit. She's got class. Her look and feel is just brilliant, but it's also professional and accessible. And she's really smart with what she delivers. So what led you to that organization?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's funny almost because in some ways it feels like a bit of a whirlwind. You know, I went to school obviously for healthcare. I worked in physical therapy for over a decade and I loved it. You know, I went to school, I loved treating patients, I loved continuing to move into management and then travel to different facilities, and I loved all of it. But at the end of the day, it felt like I had kind of walked this journey and then hit a glass ceiling. And for me, I constantly am looking for new ways to kind of reinvent myself and challenge myself and learn new skills. And I struggled for a long time, kind of feeling like there was no other place for me to go and grow. I had kind of gone as far as I could, but I also still really loved patient care and service. And so I just felt like there was no other way I could kind of marry both of those passions until I was introduced to Kelly. And in my conversations with her, it was just like a light bulb went off. I actually think I may have even verbalized in my first interaction with her, like, I've never had an experience where I feel like I just found my home. Like, I feel like I just found my purpose. And the beauty of this is that really I get to use those same skill sets of being a strategic thinker on my feet, of team development, of management, of continuing to analyze data and numbers and come up with new strategies to establish us as the top provider. You know, I'm doing that and I'm marrying that with client and customer service, and I still get to do that, but now I get to do that with such a greater impact because I work with many, many clients and we have many, many clients, and so that ripple effect is actually much greater than it was before. So I feel really honored to have found her because it's a really unique opportunity where I get to utilize these skill sets and these things I was really passionate about in an online space where I get to work from home in the middle of the pandemic. So right. I am, you know, I really am so lucky and so blessed. Yeah.
And so one of the things there are many steps, right? Whenever you're going on a journey, if you're going on a road trip, you've got to get to the first destination before you can get to the next one. And so one of the first ways that I was introduced to Kelly Roach, I heard about this whole process for like 6 months. I'm like, oh, I don't need another course. I don't need another training. What a bunch of hoo-ha, like all these thoughts in my mind. I'm like, I really don't have time for this, like 5 whole days. Is the 5-day live launch method. And I heard about it. And then I saw some colleagues like really achieve some massive success. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I should pay attention. And I did enroll in one of the programs and I half-assed it, right? I kind of sneaked in after hours and watched the thing on replay. Even just in half-assing it, I was able to get so much value from it. And I put on an event that was a little bit different than the ones I'd put on in the past. And I cannot believe the transformation people had, even just from attending the first 2 days. Like, I'm not suggesting you do that. You guys have another event starting on Monday, and I've got it in my calendar. I am going to show up. I'm going to commit because, yes, I know. And you know what? During my event, the feedback I got from those that committed, I had like 20% of people that registered fully commit, which is huge, right? Like, they committed, they did their homework, they showed up, they put things out, and they had some incredible transformations, which is really high for an online event. And like, I even had a conversation with someone yesterday, and she was telling me that she had a conversation from someone that saw the event on her page, right? She's like, I didn't even tell her about it, and she signed up for my event from her page, and it literally transformed her life because she was in a very, very dark place from, you know, we all have stories like divorce, depression, like very, very dark. And she's like, this has changed my life. And I'm like, wow, I've put on events before, but they were not this meaningful. And I have to say, like, seeing that, like, yes, we got results with clients. Yes, we had more activations in our community, but for me, like, I'm just like, wow, the impact I was able to make and the value I was able to offer in such a digestible form was like, it felt so amazing. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And I'm getting goosebumps as I talk about it. So, so the main thing, I think the entry point for everything you guys do is the live launch method. It's a 5-day free. It's completely free.
Yeah.
workshop where she walks you through a process where you can create meaningful experiences for people. And she goes through everything step by step. And this is one of the main initiatives that you support. And so maybe you could tell us just a little bit more about that in case someone wants to get started. If you love it, you can keep going on in the program. But if all you want to do is get to that destination, there's somewhere to start and to sample that.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that, Larissa. We work very, very hard and intentionally to make sure that you can attend the free workshop, totally free. It is 5 days. It starts on Monday at 12 noon Eastern. Kelly will go live. The sessions are no more than an hour, sometimes less than that. We also do a watch party in the evening. And then if you are not able to attend either of those, then of course I would just provide you with the replay links. So from the top to the bottom, we try to make this as easy and convenient as possible. And we are really intentional about setting this up in a way that you can walk away with value that you can implement right away. This is not like, you know, show up and then you have to give us this and you have to give us that and you have to give us this to get a little more. People, I have several clients I can think of off the top of my head right now that have watched several rounds of the live launch free workshop, implemented just what they've gotten from that with the notes that they took on their workbook, and have made between $40,000 and $140,000. So these are really tangible action steps, and you get me to walk you through the entire process. So one thing that I'm really deliberate about, and I know Larissa and I have had many, many conversations at this point, but really what makes the difference in how much you're able to take away from it is by getting on the phone with me and telling me the ins and outs and what I need to know about your business, because we work with business owners from all different industries. So some things might be really applicable for some and some might be really applicable for others. And because this is my full-time job, this is what we do all day long, we are trained by Kelly pretty extensively actually, to be able to pick out those strategies and tell you exactly where you need to start. So I would be your go-to girl, your GPS of sorts, to kind of direct you and make it as easy as possible if you have questions, if you have brainstorming sessions. So there is no shortage of Amber and accessibility to me at all next week. So I cordially invite any of you that are interested. I will send the link over to Larissa and I will drop it in comments as well. But we kick off on Monday, the 26th. And don't hesitate to share the invite. Bring as many people as you think might benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've sent some people to you. I've got a couple more messages that are waiting, some introductions I'd like to make with a couple of people that are really interested, because I had some great feedback about this particular live. Everyone was really excited. And so I've got something else in my inbox to send your way. I don't think I hit send yet, awesome. But it's definitely been a great experience. And I know just the value that you offer in such a platform that can be so superficial.
Yes.
It really makes a meaningful experience. It's like I'm going to a store and you're paying attention to me. There's nothing worse than going shopping and really wanting to buy something. Like, yeah. I hate going shopping with the intention of buying something beautiful and being ignored or being treated like garbage. Like it, and then I walk out and I want to cry. And I'm like begging them to take my money and help me have a great experience. And this is like the complete opposite. This is like you are welcoming me into grandma's kitchen, right? Yeah. It's like full service. Everyone is so lovely, and it really is a fantastic experience. There's a great workbook. The content is fabulous. But I think also what you do in terms of going above and beyond, really, like, that's the icing on the cake. It's not just like, oh, show up and do a class. It's really that personal touch that does make a difference. So what is the greatest transformation you personally have had from all of this?
I think honestly, every day is a learning experience, right? Things happen at warp speed in the online world. Things travel at a faster pace, I'm convinced. But the thing that's, I think, been the most impactful for me is learning to really do scary things. And
Yes.
that doesn't mean, I think in the past, the way that I interpreted that in my life was to learn all the things I could about that so that it wouldn't scare me anymore, so that I planned enough to have a backup plan for A to Z. And so I was always prepared and always took that really, really seriously. But in the online space, things happen. Tech has a mind of its own. Facebook changes every other day. What's allowed, what's not allowed. You have to kind of go with the flow, and you have to do things that really scare you in order to be the person that you are meant to be. So I think it's been kind of a daily continual reminder, but the biggest lesson and biggest transformation for me really is doing things alongside fear and in spite of fear instead of waiting for the absence of fear.
Yes. Maya's mentioning, yes, doing scary things. And
yes,
since when we face our fears instead of letting them debilitate us, like that's the opportunity for growth. Like, let us know if you agree with that. Like, put some hearts, put some love in the comments if you agree. And even share some of the scary things that you've done to really overcome things in your own life. We'd love to hear that, because I think scary things, they may seem scary at first, but there's always a better outcome. Right? What have you done that is scary that you've been able to learn and grow from? Because there's always something to learn and grow. And I think that's the beauty of scary things. So thank you for sharing that. Love it.
All the hearts. I see you guys.
Lots of hearts, lots of hearts. Amazing. Now, if you were to leave viewers with, let's say, your top 3 tips, if you were like, you've given us, I think, a ton of value and really great insight into this process, but if you were going to boil it down to 3 tips, to really create beautiful, out of this world, like amazing client experiences in a social media platform, what would those be?
It's so hard, right, to come up with just 3, because contrary to what people think and what I hear quite often in the beginning is that I'm so limited. I can't do the things I was doing before. And there's a piece of truth in that, right? The things need to look a little bit different. It's not as easy to, walk next door or what have you. But there's so much opportunity to make people feel loved and valued. And ultimately, that's what's going to make you stand out in your space. So the number one thing I would say is human connection. People have never craved human connection more than they do right now. The ever-changing lockdown, not lockdown, what I'm allowed to do, the reduced travel, people are in facilities, you name it. We know all the things all too well at this point. But the way that they connected with people looks very, very different. So human connection is huge. And I think that is the top differentiator. And the best possible way you can do that right now in the online space is through live video. Live video right now is the highest form and format that is the highest converting. And I think it's because you see that it's a real person. It's not a robot on the other side. It's not just another email blast going out to you and 500 other people. It's a real life person. They hear you, they're listening to you. So that human connection and using live video, I think, are really important to go hand in hand. I think the second thing is to continually surprise and delight your people. You continually want to kind of go in competition with yourself about how you can serve better, right? Serving is the key to success, truly. It is the better you can serve, the better leader you are, the more people are drawn to you. So you want to continually go above and beyond and compete with yourself about surprising and delighting them. We really operate from a client for life type of mentality. And that means that once you've made the sale, the work isn't over then, right? Some people are really, really good at closing sales, but they pop up when they want you to pull out your wallet and then they go away. And then the next cycle comes back and they pop up when they want you to buy something else, and then they go away. And then they pop up, and it feels very spammy and it feels gross, right? But we really operate from, okay, we've sold you into the program, great. How can we go above and beyond to resell you again with our service? How can we resell you again the next day? How can we resell you again the next day? So really being intentional about how you're doing that. And I think the third thing is to really know your people. as individual people. Stop with the like general group copy and paste messages. Know why they found you, know why it's important, know their why and their purpose, know what their fears are, what holds them up, know what they're ready to walk away from and ready to walk into, know what the gaps are so that you know how to better serve them. So really knowing them on an individual basis is going to make them and their experience feel much different. It's going to feel a lot more like that white glove service. They're going to be a lot more receptive to you, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable coming to you. So I think those are the top 3 things I give any viewers today: human connection and live video, surprise and delight. Every single day, try to resell them on their own dream and on your own service, and really know your people from an individual standpoint.
I love it. That is fantastic. And the word delight is not something you hear very often. So I'm delighted to hear that word, because it felt so good to hear on my end. So thank you for sharing that. We didn't offer to, okay. Still have battery life. Disappeared for it. If anyone does have any questions, pop them in the chat. I'm sure Amber would be super happy to answer them. And if you want to get in touch with Amber, like if this has been meaningful to you and if you want to learn more, I'm just going to ask Megan to pop your link in the chat. So that way, I think you might have to copy and paste it because it's like the URL. But the best way to reach out to you is through Facebook, because the primary platform you use is Facebook, even though we're on Instagram here. But yeah, if you could pop her link in the chat, look up Amber Morgan on Facebook, and she would be happy to help you. And so Laura, she had a question. I understand the importance of captioning videos. Do you recommend captioning the lives and reposting the video?
Yes, I do, Laura. Great question. The reason I recommend that is because people have a very short online attention span. And it's not rude, but people are very, very busy. We live in a very fast-paced world. And so most of the time, people are going to find you that don't know you yet, I'll say. If they don't know you yet, most of the time they're going to find you on a mobile device, which means they're also going to find you while they're waiting in line at the bank, and why they're at a red light, and why they're doing all these things where they have a very limited amount of time. So they might not be in a position where they can watch the whole video to find out what you're about. But they might come back later if you can put something really clear about what it is they would get in response to watching that video. So I definitely would recommend captioning and reposting videos. What people want is convenience, and they want to be very clear on what they're getting.
Amazing. And does anyone else have any questions? I guess not. Next time we'll offer some more in advance.
Yeah, that would be great.
But thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I think you are a wealth of knowledge. I love chatting with you. I love messaging with you. It's always a pleasure. And this time, like I said, I'm going to commit to the live launch next week, and I cannot wait to really fully show up this time, because like I said, the people that attended my workshop full out, I attended my own workshop full out. I participated as a client as well as I wrote it, and I had some massive transformations, and I know other people did as well. So really looking forward to next week, and I hope many of you join Amber in the live launch. Oh, yeah. There's another, Laura asked one more question. Perfect. So is there a captioning app or approach that you'd recommend?
We don't usually recommend a particular app. Some clients can find things like that. I honestly am not the biggest fan of an app for things like that as far as copy is related. Really, my bigger recommendation would be to stay really simple and stay really clear. A lot of times a trap people will fall into is kind of coming up with like frou-frou language or things that are fun to say or have a really fun meaning. Be really clear about what they're getting. You have a very short time before they swipe, and you need to come up with a thumb stopper in every single thing that you do. So really clear, really direct, and really to the point. And honestly, the example that we give is the name of our own workshop, and all of our videos, if you go into our free Facebook group, Tribe of Unstoppables, where this workshop will be housed next week. All of our videos are very, very clear. You know, intro or meet your concierge, or intro, you know, top 3 things to sales, social selling, or it's very, very clear. So don't get held up on kind of frou-frou fun things. You have a very short amount of time to kind of capture their attention.
Okay. Well, amazing. Thanks so much. And
can you share the Facebook group name, please? Yes. The Facebook group name is called a Tribe of Unstoppables. And make sure that when it says who referred you, you write either Larissa or Amber, so that we can make sure that you get paired with me. And that way I can walk you through individually the whole process. We can chat on the phone and get you all set up. So that Facebook name is Tribe of Unstoppables.
Perfect.
Yes, that's right. I think they dropped it in, so that's perfect. Feel free to message me directly, either through here or over on Facebook, whatever is easier. I think if you find me on Facebook, you'll have to type in ambermorgan.krc for Kelly Roach Coaching. It's ambermorgan.krc over there. But this has been such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Larissa. Anytime I get with you is valuable time in my book, so I've just really enjoyed myself. Thanks for having me.
And thank you so much for taking part and just sharing your gifts with everybody here, because I think it's going to make a huge impact on the viewers, but also, I mean, it's like that ripple effect that you talked about, right? Yeah. It's not just, it's 6 degrees of separation. You impact a couple people and it just spreads like wildfire. So you guys all have a fantastic day. If you want to reach out to Amber, the link to her Facebook page is up in the thread or down in the thread. And the Tribe of Unstoppables is listed there as the Facebook group. So check it out. Join the live launch next week. And if you have any questions, just reach out to either one of us. So
thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.